Let me ask a question, though. One of the frustrating things from a homeowner's perspective is we're going to be paying more on this property tax, and nothing new comes from it. It's really,
wrong.
It's really just.
That's wrong.
Okay, let me see. It's just keeping things okay.
Wrong.
Okay, what's new coming from it?
Okay. If you look at the actual bond measure itself, first of all, yes, there's a major part of it that is going to maintain, restore, upgrade existing facilities. There's no doubt.
And then to replace
There's no doubt.
technology. Are you going to say the solar and stuff like that? That's new?
There's going to be new solar. There's going to be energy cells. There's going to be gray water recycling. None of that exists. Yes, we're going to give new technology. Now, will it be iPads? I don't know what it's going to be in 2 years or 5 years. The entire planet, technology changes every couple of years. Every kid, my kids have been using technology since they were babies. Your kids are probably starting to use it. Half the kids in this district are in poverty, and they can't use it. And yes, we have spent money for iPads, which is legal under the state constitution. It's legal under the state constitution and legal, and the Taxpayers Association never, in all the previous bond issuances under Prop S until last December even raised an issue or concerned about that. It's only now that Lani's hitting on this issue of the iPads, which the other bonds are going to do if you read their bonds, but you trust them.
Let me ask Lani something. Lani, do you deny that there are schools falling apart, that they need major repair and maintenance?
I don't know how critical things are when you consider the fact that 4 years ago, they said there are critical repairs and there are safety issues. If that is in fact true, then why haven't they prioritized monies and projects towards those critical needs? So now I am questioning whether it's as severe of a situation as they've made it seem, because if it was, they would have spent the first $400 million on those projects. Instead, they've been building football fields and spent buying iPads, as Scott acknowledges.
Let me ask you about that. I mean, one of my frustrating things about Prop S was they're building multimedia facilities, they're building football stadiums, they're building part of a new library downtown. Are these really the most high priority items that we need to be spending money on?
Career, when you talk about TV studios, we have career technical education.
Well, I'm in the news business. We need laptops and we need good teachers.
Okay, well, we can pay with laptops with Prop Z. We can't pay for teachers with Prop Z. Not every kid is going to go to college. I believe every kid who graduates, if they want to go to college, should have an opportunity. But we want to prepare our students for career and or college. You mentioned the TV studio. Plus we have kitchen facilities. Plus we have construction tech academies. I want you to come out to those, Scott. You haven't been to any of them. And you can see, yes, exactly. Well, these are all things that were in Prop S and we've spent money for. Right. Over at Hoover, over at these other sites. Now, yes, on the point on the priorities, when Prop S passed, the previous board decided to prioritize the aspects of the bond that would improve learning. And that's why they chose to put the technology upgrades as a major element up front. And that includes iPads and Wi-Fi and other things. And I personally would have had it over a longer period of time, probably 7 to 10 years instead of 5 years. This Prop S isn't perfect. Prop Z isn't perfect. In politics, if you can get 75 or 80% of perfection, then that's a success.
Let me ask you about that. So the Prop S, to be clear, allocated money for new technology, including new laptops for almost every student in the district, correct? And one of your points that you bring up, and I think it's a good one, is that at some point to replace those, you're going to need money, and you don't have the money, and so therefore it would have to come from the money that pays for teachers.
In 2014, the money runs out.
Okay, so
$12 million a year.
I got to ask you, it is a compelling point. You know, we have a very high percentage of people in San Diego don't have broadband access, don't have these kinds of technologies. Why has this become such a divisive issue for you in particular, and the Union Tribune and others, as far as why is that such an offensive investment?
Because you're paying for iPads using 40-year high-interest financing. Who in the audience pays for an iPad like a mortgage.
And that's dumb. I agree
You don't
with you.
even
That's
pay
dumb.
for a car like you pay a mortgage. Why would you pay for an iPad using 40-year financing so that when you're, people are going to, the kids that are in school today are going to be in their 50s and still paying off these iPads.
I agree.
It's a crime. It's
I
an
agree.
absolute
But
crime that we allow
okay,
it. No,
where's the
let
money
me
to pay
continue.
for it? I agree with you.
You're right. There is a way to
Okay.
pay for it.
Show
And
me the
if
money.
the school district would put together a sound financial plan or a sound financial proposal, one that made sense, then the Taxpayers Association might consider supporting a measure that made reasonable sense. But you all haven't done that, let's go back to Prop Z now. Your own superintendent publicly stated that there is no financial plan built out looking into the future. His exact words verbatim about Proposition
You know what's scary?
Z.
The Taxpayers let me
that's
respond to
his
that.
words
Okay, let her
verbatim,
finish, and then I'll give you a good response.
And those were his exact words verbatim. He said he can't tell any of you how much Prop Z is going to cost you. The $2.8 billion figure doesn't include interest. The district made some sort of statement about capital appreciation bonds. We're supposed to trust them. There's nothing in the measure that guarantees
I'm gonna give
that
you a
the dollars
response.
will be spent wisely.
I'm going to give you a response, and then both of you closing
The
statements.
Taxpayers Association used to be an organization that wasn't politically and ideologically driven, but they looked at the facts. They didn't get their facts based on a soundbite, a part of a TV interview. The fact is this. First of all, this is the spending plan for Prop Z. It's on the website. It's on the ballot. First of all, you can see every site, every school. Secondly, on the financial plan, what he was saying, and it's true, today, if Prop Z passes in November, I don't know in February or March exactly what the interest rate will be. But I can tell you it's a 10-year plan. We're going to spend approximately $200 to $300 million a year. Probably the first issuance would be lower because you have to ramp up the spending, but it's going to be approximately average $200 to $250 million a year at the lowest market interest rate available because new revenues are being generated by this tax. You know that, Lani.
Okay,
So, that's a
Okay,
fact.
you're both going to get.
And unfortunately, Ms. Lutar is either
Wrap it
absolutely uninformed or being disingenuous, or both. The facts are clear. It doesn't matter what Mr. Kobus said at a soundbite. Have you asked the district? Have you asked the district for a financing plan? They never even invited us to present before their issues committee or their exec committee or the board on Prop Z. We did that on Prop S. But she didn't want to do that again because the board overturned the recommendation.
Unfortunately, we could go on all day. I'm asking you now for 2 minutes to wrap things up, give a good closing thing, tell people why they should vote against or for Proposition Z. Lani.
There is still $1.7 billion left from Proposition S, which we approved 4 years ago. All of us here are going to be paying taxes on Prop S for the next 40 plus years. So wouldn't it make sense for the school board to fulfill the promises it made to voters when we approved Prop S, that tax increase which we're paying for right now just 4 years ago, $1.7 billion remaining. So they have already demonstrated that they can't use our money wisely. They've issued high interest capital appreciation bonds that we're now going to be paying for decades. Our kids and grandkids are going to be paying this off. And if you trust the school board, then maybe you ought to vote for it. But I will remind you that this November, we have two statewide income tax increase measures. 2 statewide income tax measures, a sales tax increase proposal, local Proposition Z, which wants to double your local property taxes for school bonds, double. And then you've got federal tax credits and whatnot that are going to expire. There is a website I want to encourage everybody to check out ASAP. It's called taxballoon.com. When you check this out, you can put in your zip code, you can put in your adjusted income, and you can put in your rough value of your household. I ran estimates using variety of numbers, and even with a household income of $65,000, what it shows is that in 2013, we can expect our taxes to go up $5,000 if all of these measures pass. $5,000 if you have a household income of $65,000. At $90,000, $7,000. So if you trust the school board, you probably ought to vote for this. But if anything I've told you today makes you wonder about their ability to use dollars wisely, your valuable taxpayer dollars wisely, if you have concerns about the cost of your housing going up, then I urge you to vote no to Proposition Z, because if we support this under these conditions, I guarantee you they will be back in 4 years with a $4 billion bond. Mark my words.
All right, I'm going to ask you a quick question, and then you can take your closing statement. One of the things, it is interesting, there is this joke among political consultants, do a construction bond every 4 years. Would you pledge right now you wouldn't do one in 4 years?
I don't make any.
There
I
you
don't
go.
make no new tax pledges. No.
No, that's
You
fair.
know what?
Do it.
I don't do bumper sticker things, sound bites the way Lani wants to operate and the way, unfortunately, the
I
Taxpayers
think
Association used to operate.
I think that's
This is
legitimate.
about the fact. I don't take a no new taxes pledge. I don't believe in 3 strikes. I don't believe in saying I'm never going to do anything, because as an elected official, I'm elected for my judgment and not to approve a bumper sticker.
Okay, now your closing
Secondly, the other all the other bonds that Lani's supporting are going to be paying off interest for 20, 30, or 40 years, same as Prop Z. They're going to raise their taxes. She's saying no. Well, ours isn't going to be 40 years either, and you know that, because it's going to generate new revenue. You know that, but you're just being disingenuous. Secondly, the fact is we have $7 billion of needs, which the Taxpayers Association was on the committee to develop that need list. We've spent $1.5 billion of Prop MM. We've spent $400 million of Prop S, and we have to spend an additional $1.5 billion on Prop S to finish those projects. But even when you do that, we're done. There's $2 billion of needs, including in 2 years, these iPads are going to be ripped out of kids' hands. There will be no technology for 50,000 poor kids in this district. We also are going to use the lowest legal available interest rate, because it's going to generate new revenues. And in addition, we will invest in solar. We'll invest in recycling technology, water recycling technology, and other things that generate savings. I urge people to look at, if you want to look at the facts, don't look at, if every tax in the country goes up, including Obama and so forth, this is what your tax will be. This is about Prop Z. Your tax will go up $60 per $100,000 assessed valuation on Prop Z. It is a tax increase. I've never pretended it's not. The bottom line is, if you want the facts, if you want to see the spending list, here it is on our website. Taxpayers Association hasn't even looked at it, because they decided December of last year they were going to oppose this tax.
You good?
Thank you.
Proposition Z needs 55% of the vote to pass. Unlike a special tax for other needs, it doesn't need 2/3, it needs 55%. Stay tuned on voicessandiego.org for more information on that. I know this gets tense sometimes, but you guys are both awesome. A round of applause for both Scott and Lani. And we'll post, we're posting the video, and we'll be doing some fact checks on that as well. So thank you so much.